when a law is passed, for it to be lawful, it has to have the consent of the people. People have to consent to that law and consent to abide by it. But unfortunately, I think we're in a system now where that obviously doesn't happen, but people don't realise that by verbally agreeing with, let's say, a police officer in relating to a parking ticket, that you're entering into a verbal contract, and by agreeing with what the officer is saying, you're consenting to being bound by the law, or whatever the law is. And people, when we say words like "do you understand," when a police officer says to you, reads the caution and says "do you understand," what they're actually saying is, do you stand under our authority? Now again, you know, I didn't know this as a police officer, and even the words that are spoken as a police officer, police don't even necessarily understand themselves. So I believe that people have to consent to a law for it to apply to them in the legal sense, because it's not common law.
So when you interact with the police or the court system, they will ask you for your name, address, and date of birth. This is done to create joinder between you and your legal fiction, and to trick you into representing it. Once you agree to represent your legal fiction, now they can deal with you.
They can only apply their legal mechanisms if they have the name of the slave they're dealing with. If you state, well, I don't want to give my name, then they can't apply the mechanisms to you because they have no name for their paperwork. And remember, all their systems work via paperwork. It's all paperwork.
I think you might be wanted.
Well, if I'm wanted, what's the problem?
Could be arrested.
Well, then arrest me then, innit?
I need to establish who you are.
No, you don't. If you think I'm the person that's wanted, arrest me, innit?
Where do you live? Tell me your date of birth.
What? What's that?
What can you want? I want your details now.
Lock me up for what?
Give me your details.
Give me your details.
Give me your details.
Lock me up for what?
Give me your details.
Well, get my details. And I tell you this as well. Yeah, I tell you this as well. I'm not a criminal. I'm a peaceful man sitting out here. I just burn down the system of corruption and pollution that we are represent.
But in the meantime, I'll leave you to it. But obviously, if there are any problems, then I might have to come back and obtain your details and speak to you further.
Look, you have no right to just leave me to it. You have no right to say you're going to come back and ask for my details. I'm me, he's him, yeah. You're you. That's our details.
Oh yeah. Am I obliged to give you my details?
We've spoken to you.
Yes.
Okay, we've asked you to leave the store.
Yes. Wait a second.
Give me your details. You do have my details.
Am I obliged to give you my details?
You're not obliged to give me your details.
Oh, great, okay.
Why?
How will you define yourself under the sex crime definition?
Am I obliged to answer that, sir? I do not wish to answer any questions, sir.
You don't have to, I'm just asking you.
Am I obliged?
You're not obliged.
I'm not obliged. No comment.
Okay, that's fine.
What are you doing?
Am I obliged to answer that, sir?
No?
No comment.
Okay. Are you going to answer any other questions?
If I'm obliged, I will, but if I'm not obliged, then I won't be answering any questions.
Oh, that's fine. Are you going to tell us your name or not?
Am I obliged?
And then you're getting out your van and coming over and trying to intimidate me. Go back in your van and go away, there'll be no complaints. Stay here, I'll be speaking to your sergeant about all of you.
Right, so you're demanding now, are you? Or are you requesting that I give you my details? Right, well, I would politely decline your request.
Why is that? What's your reason for declining?
Privacy.
You got an ID or driver's license on yourself?
Yeah. Nope. I won't do it. What's your name and badge number?
Officer Carlson, ID 7345.
Okay. Am I being detained? Am I free to go?
Free to go whenever you want to.
Thank you, sir.
I'm asking you again, am I obliged to give you my details?
I'd like to, because I'm going to do a name check.
I got it.
I'd like to see if,
I got it.
if you're banned from this area or
okay.
whatever.
Well, I'm asking you again, I know you'd like to, but the reason, just to explain to you, the reason I don't like to give my details is because I don't trust where those details go. Do you understand?
You well know as well as I know, sir, that in order for you to ask me my name, you have to suspect me of committing a crime. You know and I know that you don't suspect me of committing a crime. You're just poking around where you don't belong.
Okay, is there a problem, officer? Constable.
Basically, under section 163 of the Road Traffic Act, I'm allowed to check your documents.
Of course you are. And I know I'm not obliged to give any details whatsoever. However, I'd like to know, is there a problem?
I don't even have to speak to you unless you're going to arrest me, mate.
You got some mental health problems?
No, mate. No, I just know my right to remain silent.
Well,
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did, mate. When the camera was not on. That's what you said.
Have you got
Okay?
a contact phone number?
Right, no, I haven't got a contact phone number. I'm not obliged to give any contact phone number. All I would like now is my card back. I'm not accepting any paperwork from you guys, and I want to go on my way. I'm going to be detained right now.
Legally, yeah? Legally, you're meant to confirm your name and address to me.
Lawfully? Hold on. Lawfully? Lawfully?
Yeah, lawfully.
You're supposed to answer me. You're a public servant.
But yeah, what? No, you can't see my ID. Can I see your ID? I'm glad you brought that up. Can I see your ID? I see your...
Hand over the vehicle, you're going to have to give us your details, okay?
I don't have to give you any details.
You're going to have to.
Call the sergeant, mate. I don't have to give you any details.
No, ma'am, you may not.
I am talking to you, investigating something now. I can't.
You're investigating me for what crime?
I didn't say it was a crime.
Okay, then there's no probable cause or reasonable suspicion for me to provide it in.
Because
And then what would you do if I was to say that I don't have a name? Like, how would you look me up or anything like that?
Well, we wouldn't. Because if I stop you like this to have a chat, and I ask for your name, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah, no, I'm just glad you know that, because a lot of police officers where I'm from don't actually know that.
You don't have to give me a name. The only time you have to give me a name...
You've caught me breaking the law.
Or, well no, even then you don't, because you can be booked in as unknown.
I suppose, I can replace.
The only time you're legally obliged to give your name, address and date of birth is when you drive in a car.
If you haven't broken any laws, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to interact with the police if you don't want to. If they come up and try and engage you in conversation, and you haven't done anything, then you don't have to engage in conversation with them. You can you're free to walk away. If they want to detain you, they need reasonable grounds to do that. And if they don't have reasonable grounds to do that, then they're actually in breach of their oath, and they're liable.
With statutes and acts, the consent of the people, those are the people that's there to govern, has not been obtained. And so, it's frowned upon. It's very much a grey area, and police are being used to enforce statutes and acts of the legal system, and not really understanding what that means and what it means as a police officer to police.
I believe that Black's Law Dictionary states that a statute is a legislative rule of a society given the force of law by those who consent. So a statute it doesn't actually say a statute is a law, it says it's a legislative rule of a society given the force of law, but only by those who consent to being in that society or consent to the fact that consent to the law. So if you say to a policeman when they stop you, I'm sorry, I do not consent, I do not understand, that is, I do not stand under you, then you can step away from that. But it's important that you uphold the actual natural law. And of course the policemen and magistrates and also the Queen, they all state oaths to the law of the land. So you can ask an officer if he's actually, are you on your oath? So it's important that we can actually get them on their oath, because they don't swear an oath to uphold the law of the sea or statutes. They swear an oath to uphold the law of the land.
If you're pulled up by the police and the police say to you, can I have your name? And you say no, which officially you don't have to give your name. It's actually on the Metropolitan Police site itself. It actually says you don't have to answer their questions. But if you don't answer their questions, they're going to do one of two things. If you get a good copper, they're going to go, okay, not a problem, you haven't really done anything wrong, we'll leave you alone. You get a bad copper, then you're going to get dragged to the floor, roughed about, cuffs on, you'll be dragged down a station where you will be bullied and coerced into giving your name in the end. And if you don't, they will just keep you as long as they possibly can. To lock any human being in a room that they can't leave, and especially in a room that has the very, very bare essentials, is torture.
So remember, if you haven't broken any laws, no one has the right to tell you what to do. We are all equal in the eyes of the law, from the Queen to the police and to you or I, and we are all innocent until proven guilty. So if a policeman stops you in the street and you haven't broken any laws, do not comply. Always ask, am I detained? Or, am I free to go? Do not give your details and ask if you're obliged to. If they do try to search you or arrest you without your consent, tell them you are doing this under duress. If you have not broken the law, do not comply. Only interact with the police if you wish to. If you do not wish to, do not consent. The more of us that do not comply, the less likely this country will become like Nazi Germany or Communist China. The police swear an oath to the Queen, so ask them if they are under their oath. If they reply yes, they are bound by said oath and can only uphold common law.
This is certainly the most updated. When I joined, it was slightly differently worded to this, but this is probably the most updated, and it starts with I, you state your name, of, you state whichever police force you are serving, do solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will well and truly serve the Queen in the office of Constable, with fairness, integrity, diligence and impartiality, upholding fundamental human rights and according equal respect to all people, and that I will, to the best of my power, cause the peace to be kept and preserved, and prevent all offences against people and property, and that while I continue to hold the said office, I will, to the best of my skill and knowledge, discharge all the duties thereof faithfully according to law. That is the oath and attestation of a police constable.
If you ask a policeman to say, are you on your oath, very often they change their, they actually realise what you're talking about, and they change their behaviour, because their oath was to uphold the common law of the land and not the statutes, not the law of the sea, which is the law of commerce, because we realise that everything now is to do with commerce. When the policemen stop us, you're not wearing a seatbelt. Well, who am I causing harm to? Where's the loss or damage? It's crazy. And so they say, oh no, you're breaking the law. Well, I'm just breaking a rule, but why? What authority do they have over us? I haven't given them my authority.
The oath that every police officer is to preserve the property, life and subjects of the Queen. Now that to me is people, property, disturbances, breach of the peace. That's how I understand the office of constable to be now. It's basically an oath is a promise. I promise to enforce the law. I promise to serve Her Majesty's subjects. I promise to prevent them as much as I can, prevent them from being harmed, to prevent their property from being destroyed. That to me is the oath of a constable.
Police take an oath when they join the service. Again, they don't really understand what that means. It's not explained in any details. It's kind of a grey area. You just take it to mean whatever you want it to mean. But it's all been set up to allow the system that currently enslaves people to carry on enslaving and to further that enslavement into every aspect of our lives.
Hey guys, so I'm here at Parliament Square for the Occupy London protest. I've just come over to a group of police officers who are protecting and serving the people today. I've just approached this guy here who obviously has his back to me now. What's your name please, sir? Obviously you're obliged to tell me. It's your job as a public servant to identify yourself. So could I have your name, please? Okay, we have here Constable Bird. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I have here about 200 copies of the UK police officer's oath of office. I've just asked them if they know their oath. They've gone very quiet on me. This isn't an attack on you guys, just so you know. Like, I'm not trying to cause trouble with you or anything. I'm just trying to make sure you do your job properly, obviously. I mean, some emergencies just come up, so I'm going to follow them just to see why they're avoiding my questions. I think we all know it's because they don't know their oath. But I'd like to offer them a copy just to see if they will remember why they became police officers, which was obviously to protect and serve the people of this country. But if during their programming and their training and stuff have forgotten who they actually went into the job for, I'd like to remind them. So I still have the oath in my hand. Look, you can see all the copies. They're walking away from me. They don't want to hear it. My aim at this protest is obviously to help the police remember their oath, to remember what it is that gives them this authority in the first place, and hopefully they will honour humanity and uphold. Let me just read their oath to you guys. Look, they're really walking away from the square and everything. They don't want to hear this at all. I, so-and-so of wherever, do solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will well and truly serve the Queen in the office of Constable with fairness, integrity and diligence and impartiality, upholding fundamental human rights and according equal respect to all people. And that I will, to the best of my power, cause the peace to be kept and preserved and prevent all offences against people and property. Sorry, where was I? Prevent all offences against people and property, and that while I continue to hold the said office, I will, to the best of my skill and knowledge, discharge all the duties thereof faithfully according to law. So could you now recite that back to me? This is going on the internet, by the way. Not even an acknowledgement from them, guys. This is what we're dealing with. They've just completely ignored all attempts and walked off to their van and gone away.